Hi, guys. I just would like to thank you all for coming out to see our TEDx Youth Talks. It really does mean a lot. I know it's cold outside. So, yeah, thank you guys for making the trek over here. So, connected, but at what cost? The tales of a society infatuated with technology. I would just like to make this clear. As Jonathan just said, I have a passion for technology. I love technology. I study technology. I'm a Cisco networking major at CCBC. But I've realized that there are limits to the beast when it comes to technology. So without further ado, I have some photos that might prove eye-opening to you all. Does that remind you guys of anyone? This seems to be a couple going out for breakfast. It doesn't seem as if the food has arrived yet, so usually during this period you have some sort of interaction with each other. But it seems as if the only interaction that they're having is with the devices in their hands. Yeah, so let's move on to the next one. How about that? Does that remind you guys, anyone, possibly even yourselves, if you guys get on social media? Yeah, I mean, I personally don't have a smartphone. I have a BlackBerry, so I don't use social media as much, but definitely I can relate to that when it comes to, you're walking down the street, or maybe you're with a group of people that you may not know, or maybe your friend's approaching you, and what do? First thing you do is pull out your phone, act like you're texting somebody. Maybe you're reading a text, maybe you're sending a text, just to avoid that awkward confrontation. It's very interesting to see how we don't want to interact with the people around us. We want to interact with just the technology. So, last but not least, Thanksgiving's around the corner. Does that remind you guys of anyone, maybe? Maybe future families, maybe it's families today. Everybody's using their smartphones, not interacting. It's supposed to be a get-together. The one thing I love, you see like this is like the grandpa, and then you see like the person right next to him, I'll just call him Billy. Billy he's saying, oh, grandma smells. Maybe, like, I imagine him like tweeting it to like all of his followers. Maybe he got like a bunch of retweets. And you have like grandpa going on Facebook, he's asking his friend, he's like, hey, where did I leave your dentures at your house or something like that? Just no interaction between anyone at the dinner table. So, technology. Connectivity through the internet has allowed citizens of their respective countries across the world to share their ideas. Social media outlets such as Twitter and Facebook were key during the Arab Spring, an event that took place across the Middle East. As individuals formed together to fight back against dictatorships and corrupt leaders. Social media was meant to be a supplement to the human interaction that goes on a daily basis, a way to keep in touch with individuals you may not be able to connect with in person at that very moment. You see, through the internet, we are connected more than ever. But still somehow, with all that technology that we have today, we have found a disconnect, cut off physically and emotionally from the rest of the world, not digitally. Sadly, even with technology, the old saying of there being too much of a good thing proves true. So let me just backtrack for a second, okay? Our world is huge. From North America to Europe, Asia to Africa, I am able to connect and share my experiences with plenty of people, millions of people, through a couple clicks of a button. It's a blessing. It means a more connected world, and I love the idea of a future where everyone is connected through the internet. I want to be a part of that. I want to help create that. That's why I'm in networking. But instead of using technology correctly, we are abusing it. Youth ages 8 to 18, now this is eye-opening, youth ages 8 to 18 average 5 hours and 22 minutes a day, 7 days a week on the internet. Now, just to put that in perspective for you guys, that's about 36 hours in a whole entire week, about 4 hours less than the average full-time work week. Could it be that interacting virtually is now more appealing than interacting with those physically there? We have games such as The Sims and various MMOs. I play League of Legends, where you interact with your virtual environment in a similar manner to the real world. Are we damaging our long-term social interactions with those who are physically around us by opting to collaborate with computers than to interact with people? Just read that for a second. So I find it funny that this question always pokes its head. For advancement, don't we have to let something give? Well, personally, I believe that this is wrong. There are certain things like, for example, you can argue and say, like the Patriot Act, for example, you give away certain rights so that you can have protection. Okay, I understand that. That's debatable. But when it comes to social interaction, we as humans are able to figure out normal behavior. We're able to develop soft skills. I'm sure we can all agree that given the situation, lack of eye contact is disrespectful. That's why I'm trying my best to give eye contact to you all. It's obnoxious, it seems unfocused, and it leaves a leave me alone type of tune. Now, if this is the case, then why is it that eye contact is becoming a lost art? Now, take into a moment, one day, just out of your work week, to be conscious of your interactions with those around you. Maybe you're talking to your boss, maybe you're at a cubicle. I don't know what kind of jobs you guys have. So just observe, when you go to the grocery store, do your friends seem more engaged with the Farmville app on their phone? Or are they actually looking you in the eyes when they talk to you? Where's the justification in tweeting out personal problems to a group of individuals who could care less about how you feel? Why not just contrive a viable response to the question, what is wrong, from the person physically in front of you? So, sorry if I'm depressing you all. I want you all to take a deep breath, okay? Just take a deep breath, all right? I'm not saying that the world's going to end tomorrow or in the future, okay? Well, tomorrow is the future. But that's not the point that I'm trying to make. Instead, I'm simply trying to shed some light on an issue that deserves a bigger spotlight. I've experienced the misuse of technology firsthand, and I have friends who still to this day would rather post statuses on social media entailing what may as well be their whole entire private life than to talk to those physically around them about the issues that come up in their lives. Personally, I've done it. I'm no saint when it comes to social media. Now, our generation more than ever is afraid of commitment. It makes us feel anxious, makes us feel pressured. But to have genuine human interaction, we must work our problems out with the people around us, okay? And I love this picture because Google search does a lot of things. You can search up anything that you want, right? Maybe you're at work, you have a question to a problem, what do? You don't Google it, right? Well, that's not what Google was meant for. Similar to how phones, social media, and technology overall are not meant to be substitute to human interaction. Google, you cannot search your sanity on Google. So, let's just take a second to pledge to start using technology the right way again. Let's start working together again. Let's interact with those around us at every chance we get. Instead of sending an email to the person 20 feet away from you, get up and talk to them. Put your phones down when others are talking to you. Instead of texting, try having a conversation with the people physically around you. Texting has no emotion, but the human spirit does. And you can argue and say emoticons have emotion. I don't believe they have emotion. Doesn't substitute a smile. So whether the future is this, if you guys ever watched WALL-E, or this, it is entirely up to each and every single one of you. We all have creative minds. We're all smart. We all have ideas. So let's actually share them. Let's actually put two and two together. Let's continue engaging our peers in the right ways. Let's use technology as a supplement, allowing it to work for us rather than us to work for the technology. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Let's work together to create the future. I would like to thank you guys for listening to my presentation. Thank you.